Hello guys, and welcome back to Gondor in Ethiopia. Today I am leaving this beautiful mountain village or city and heading back to the capital, Addis Ababa. But today I'm going to tell you about, is Ethiopia safe to travel as a foreigner, and a little bit about the prices as well. But first we've got to go to the airport, jump on a flight, and then we'll get into the information. Alright guys, made it onto the plane, but only just. I scheduled my airport shuttle to leave the hotel at 2:45 because it takes about half an hour to get to the airport, and it's a very small airport, so it doesn't take long to get through security. 2:45 comes along, he's like, nah, we can wait. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. He doesn't end up leaving until 3:15, and then we go on some kind of a guided tour with like all these other guests. We get to the airport at 3:55. The flight leaves at 4:05, and so we're going through security. The guy's like, you're late. Anyway, we're on the plane. It's the main thing, guys. It's delayed, but I think that's because of us on that bus, because it's 4:10 now. It's supposed to leave 5 minutes ago. But yeah, anyway, made it. Stressful. Anyway, let's fly to Addis. So I've made it to Addis Ababa, and it's been quite the day. I didn't mention when I was on the plane, we had to run from the terminal for like 100 meters along the side of the runway in the rain to jump on that plane. Got on, and then everybody was in the wrong seats and we had to move, and anyway, I got a cool seat in the end. You could see the wheel there. I've never seen the wheel landing. That was amazing, all the smoke coming off it on the impact of landing. Something that you need to prepare for when you're coming to Ethiopia, depending, you might not care, you might care. In my case, it's really important, is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is very bad, and if you do get it, it kind of comes in waves. It'll cut out, and then it'll come back. I've got to this hotel, I booked it especially. I thought it would have, good Wi-Fi being in the city and being like not the cheapest place that I could find, but Wi-Fi's out. This is all information that will help you with your travels here. I bought a SIM card. The network provider in Ethiopia is called Ethio Telecom. Terrible company. I don't want to sound negative, but I just want to tell you how this system works here and things. Anyway, I'll explain more about the internet and the SIM cards after I explain the safety aspect, and then we'll get into the prices then as well. I'll tell you how much this hotel room costs. But first, safety. Coming to a country like Ethiopia, kind of Central East Africa anyway, you're automatically going to have your fears about safety. I know I did. I haven't done that much exploring at night time. I have been walking along the street with a local one night. It was all good. That was up in Dabark in the north, near the mountains, and that was apparently safe according to the locals to walk there at night. I think here in Addis it's a bit more risky depending on where you are. When I was staying in the city centre of Addis, here I'm located near the airport, but when I was staying in the city centre, I walked around that local area at night, and there's heaps of people around, so it's not too dangerous from the feeling I got. But I have had a lot of recommendations and advice to not go walking around the city at night. I mean, you can go directly to the place you're going, but walking to and from can be sketchy from what I've heard in terms of, muggings and things. I haven't seen any of that, so I don't know if it's 100% true. But people are very nice and always kind of eager to help as well. That's something I've noticed. Scamming it's there, but it's not as bad as other places I've been to. Any kind of developing countries, you're always going to come across scams. Someone tried to charge me 1,000 birr for a 45 birr bus ticket. Apart from that, I haven't had anyone try to rip me off in shops, buying bottles of water or food or anything. No one has tried to rip me off, which is a really good sign. I know definitely in other places, I've been ripped off in shops and basically everywhere, but in Ethiopia, in my experience, I've been treated very well. But walking around the day in the cities, from my experience, absolutely fine. Obviously, use common sense, don't just walk around like flashing all your expensive things. From my experience, I've walked around with my camera, which I'm just contradicting myself now, and I haven't had any issues. People say nice camera and things like that, but they don't come and grab it from me or anything like that. But I think, have out what you need to have out. But, maybe I'm being overly cautious. From my experience here in Ethiopia, walking the streets and things, I felt very safe. That is during the day. During the night, it feels a bit sketchy, but that's basically just my projection. So taking account to all that, come and see for yourself. As for getting here, visa on arrival, it's super easy. It's $50 though, which is kind of expensive, but that's just the way it is. So if you have any more questions about the safety aspect, drop them down below and I'll do my best to answer them in the comment section. But I will move on to the prices now. So, accommodation, guys. Accommodation is very expensive for what you get here. Oh, boo-hoo! You basically pay like 5 times the average price in Asia and you get worse accommodation. And I was talking to an English guy I met who works here, and he also worked in Kenya for 14 years. So he's very experienced in the region. He says the reason that the accommodation is so expensive is because labor is much more expensive here than places like Asia, and utilities, so electricity and things, are a lot more expensive. So that's why you're getting the kind of blown up prices. So this is it's an okay room here, but it's pretty basic. It's reasonably clean. This is $45 US, which is a lot of money.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money.
I mean, $45 isn't that expensive, but it's more than I usually pay for things, for places. The reason I wanted to spend the money here is because I thought I'd be getting Wi-Fi so I could get some work done, but sadly, it's not the case. And then that'll bring us on to our next topic of SIM cards and things in a second. The cheapest I've seen for your own hotel room is $25 US, and there's some pretty brutal hotel rooms, power cuts for hours at a time, definitely not working Wi-Fi. Where I was staying in the mountains, it was very cold in the evening. If you're just coming to kind of explore outdoors and things, which is mainly what traveling's about, depending on your style, then don't worry about any of this stuff. I'm just being picky because I need to have electricity and Wi-Fi to make these videos. But maybe you're different, maybe that doesn't bother you. You're looking at a price range, $25 to like $60, depending on what kind of room you get. They get better with the price normally, not always though. There is Airbnb here, you can use that, and I think that's a lot cheaper, but you are in some kind of random locations far out. I didn't see any Airbnbs near the center when I was here last time, so I wanted to be in the center. Now I'm near the airport, just in an airport hotel. SIM cards, guys, if I was you, I wouldn't bother. To be honest, if you're buying it for data, forget it. I spent, how much did I spend on data? I spent 600 birr. That was for 4 gigabytes. One day later it ran out. And I checked my usage, because on my phone I can check my usage. I had only used 1.5 gigs, so I think it's an imaginary gigabyte system that they have going here.
With imagination, I can be anything I want.
Also, the network will cut out constantly. There's only one network provider owned by the government. No competition means they don't have to improve it. You can buy it if you want, but it's up to you. My recommendation is just forget it. Waste of money, and it's an extremely frustrating process when you have to keep going back to the telecom store and asking them what's happening, and then they come up with something and they're like, it's fixed, and then like 2 hours later it stops working. If you're wondering about food is pretty reasonable. For an average meal, I normally spend about 100 birr per meal. But if you're really, really hungry, you can spend up to like 300 and you'll have enough food to last you. But $5-ish will get you a filling meal. So food's pretty reasonable. Sounds like there's some kind of a party going on outside. Transport, you can get plane tickets, you can also get bus tickets cross country if you're going outside the capital to other parts of the country. And the bus ticket cost me 45 birr for I think around a 3-hour minibus ride. But the minibus rides, guys, those public buses, they are a true adventure. You get put in the back and then they will not stop trying to fit people in. And when I say that, I really mean it. As long as people want to get in this minibus, they will never refuse anyone. They fit up to like sometimes 30 people in a Hiace, in a Toyota minivan. It's really funny. Like you're in there, you're like crammed up, you've got like your bags like on top of you, like hugging it, and there's like some guy like with his goat next to you. You get to see all different kinds of people in those buses because the locals use them to get from a certain part of the country to another, maybe moving farms or going home from work. And then you get like the city folk going from the city to their towns. You get everything, guys. It's a really cool experience. So overall, prices are, I'd say, quite a bit more than Asia. When I say Asia, obviously, I'm meaning places like Southeast Asia, South Asia. I'm not referring to somewhere like Japan, because obviously that's a lot more. But when I say Asia, I'm meaning, developing Asian countries. It's kind of like a middle range country. And as in safety, it's really good, guys. Just be confident and don't let things intimidate you. Don't get in your own head too much. Just kind of common sense, travel sense kind of things. Don't walk down back alleys in the middle of the night. I think I'm going to finish the video there, guys. What a day. Before I started filming this last segment, I was down in reception for like half an hour trying to like talk to them about the internet, and they tried to top up my SIM card and the SIM card was refused for some reason again. So you can get yourself into these situations where everything is kind of going downhill, but the key thing to remember is that you can't do anything about it. You've got to roll with it and you've got to take the positives. I think most of you guys know this anyway, but think of the best parts of the country that you've had, the people that you've met, the epic mountains that you've seen. The challenge, the struggle in itself is part of the beauty of the travel. On that note, guys, any more questions, drop them down below, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Pretty cool little party. I think it's maybe a wedding or something. You gotta love that African singing.